Most rodents are only active at night because this is a safe time. Predators would have to wait until dark to catch them. But what if you get hungry during the daytime? You can't just turn off the sun or somehow affect the fundamental laws of nature. But the characters of today's video managed to bend the rules, which have been there for billions of years. How? Let's find out. What is this bird doing, playing daytime and nighttime?
Nighttime, daytime, nighttime, daytime!
Hold on. In the beginning of the video, I meant a little different thing. In most cases, black herons look like typical wading birds, long legs, long necks, and long beaks. But when it comes to food, they turn on the umbrella mode. You must be familiar with this problem. You're trying to check something on a phone screen on a sunny day. But since everything is so bright around you, you have to hide in the shade. No, the black heron doesn't have a smartphone underwater, but there's fish. To better see the prey, the birds create a shadow where small fish are drawn. They don't sense the trap, mostly because they can't see the danger. To fish, the umbrella that heron makes, it looks like a dark spot that provides shade. So why not swim closer to it? It's quite hot after all. I don't like this spot. I thought deeply into it and he never came back. Come on, relax. What you say is an old wives' tale. Think about it. The herons figured out how shadows work. Imagine how long it took them. That is, at first, the herons observed the fish they hunt hiding from the sun. Then they realized they can also create a shadow, especially if they spread their wings like that. Then they put these facts together in...
Yes! Nighttime.
No, seriously, it's just damn smart. Oh, by the way, why do fish like shade anyway? That is, as a human, I get it, especially in the hot weather when the shade's the only place without air conditioning that you can actually stay. But fish, in their case, it's not just about looking for a cool spot in the shade. Fish can see 2.5 times farther than in the sun. It's very convenient since the predator can't sneak up on you unexpectedly. Do you see him? He does not see you because of the bright light, a perfect disguise. Not except when the predator is above you. Fish can also get a sunburn, just like humans. I thought that fish can be burned only in a frying pan though. By that time, they don't really care. But real life, as always, is surprising. Although water usually provides a very good barrier against most UV light wave, some of them do penetrate a shallow depth. The longer the weather is clear, the more likely fish is to get sunburned. They have no sunscreen. It's fish we're talking about. Although sunburns can be so severe, fish can actually die. To be honest, this is not what I expected to find out. And that's not the only problem caused by the sun. Not only can you be burned to death or eaten by a cunning bird, although I'm sure that's quite a lot of trouble. Some creatures suffer even more, so they do everything they can to avoid the sun. Every person probably saw worms coming out of the ground during rain. That's why people have to dig them up before fishing and clear weather. Seagulls came up with a better idea and invented the rain dance. Unfortunately, this dance cannot cause precipitation, but seagulls do not need it. All they need is worms. Worms crawl to the surface when raindrops hit the ground. This means that in order to lure out the worms, you also need to stamp on the ground. How the hell did they come up with this idea? Unfortunately, nature did not give the seagulls the woodpecker skills, so they have to use their feet to tap. And so, the show begins. After a while, the dance stops. The seagull picks up the worms that crawled out from the ground and then continues to tap its feet. By the way, why do worms get to the surface when it rains anyway? For a long time, it was believed they would simply drown underground. Turns out worms are much cooler than we used to think. It takes a lot of effort to crawl underground, and you can't pick up much speed there. A wet surface after rain is a different story. You just need to get out and wait until the earth is wet enough. The result is perfect conditions for worm drift. Well, in moving to another place too, but the worms are waiting for rain not only because of the speed of movement. Again, it has to do with the sun. It can dry worms to a crisp state, so they prefer to avoid direct sunlight. I can't blame them for that. There is something ironic about this. We owe the sun life on the planet and a bunch of other cool things. If not for its warmth and light, the Earth would have turned into a huge cobblestone drifting in space. There'd be no humans, no fish, no worms, no birds pretending to be umbrellas. But it's the sun that creates many problems for every creature on the planet. There are different ways to deal with it. We've evolved to come up with sunglasses and the reindeer went one step further. They just cheated the entire system. In the Arctic Circle, a long polar day lasts from mid-May to late July when the sun does not set below the horizon. For 10 weeks in winter, there's eternal twilight, and the rest of the wintertime, the sun rays reflected from the snow can blind anyone. Not the best conditions when you can't even protect your eyes from the light or take a flashlight because, well, you have hooves. And so the deer came up with the idea of changing the color of the eyes. Seriously, in winter, it's bright blue, and in summer it's golden. Can you imagine the surprise of scientists who discovered this? During the research, biologists have found out that the color change does not occur in the iris of the eye, but on the tapetum lucidum. This is the reflective membrane behind the central part of the retina, which, by the way, makes the cat's eyes glow. The cat did not change the eye color depending on the season. Only reindeer can do this. It seems like it happens when the pressure in the eyes change. During the dark months, a deer's pupil dilates completely to let in as much light as possible, but the fluid inside the eyes has no outlet, and so the pressure rises. At the same time, the pressure on the vessels increases, which reduces the distance between the fibers and the tapetum lucidum, changing the color of the eyes. When the sun returns, it goes in the opposite direction. The pupils narrows, the pressure decreases, the tapetum lucidum relaxes, and the eye becomes golden again. But wait, there's still snow that makes everything brighter. It's so bright, it can cause snow blindness in humans. This happens when the eye gets hit with the ultraviolet rays of the sun reflected from the snow. The consequences can be unpleasant. To avoid snow blindness, people wear sunglasses while reindeer use dangerous ultraviolet light to survive. That is what hurts others, saves the deer lives. They just adjusted their eyes to this radiation. If necessary, the deer can see ultraviolet radiation, and this helps them a lot when they need to spot food or a predator who can disguise himself as much as he wants. Ultraviolet waves will still detect them. What a convenient tool. The more I learn about deer, the more surprised I get. One day, it turns out they can comfortably live in outer space. Well, apparently Santa uses this feature to deliver gifts, though outside the Earth, we have to deal with much more dangerous radiation. Many astronauts report seeing cosmic rays, charged particles of energy of unclear origin. Fortunately, cosmic rays passing through the Earth are usually absorbed by the atmosphere, but astronauts outside the atmosphere may find they see what's not there. Flashes in the eyes, spots, stripes, entire clouds. Someone even talks about fairies. At the same time, cosmic rays caused numerous malfunctions, locked computers, knocked out pixels on cameras. Some damages turn out to be irreversible. It's unclear how much such radiation a person can absorb without consequences to health. Actually, people are generally quite fragile creatures, even compared to, I do know, crabs. Do you know what happens if a crab gets injured during a fight with a bird? It simply amputates the damaged claw. Whoa, very cool and completely unclear why? To use it as a projectile. Okay, actually, it does it for the sake of speed. Apparently, it's simply uncomfortable to move with an injured limb. So, the crab easily gets rid of it and flees from the battlefield. Sounds reasonable. The important thing is not to get too carried away. But if you already feel sorry for the poor crab, who will have to survive in a cruel world with only one claw, relax, it regenerates quite quickly. Maybe growing a new limb is even easier than healing wounds, and crabs have long understood the advantage. Well, or they're all just a bit of drama queens. See you later.